What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. This is the Texans Better Talk Show. Look, the Texans are in need desperately of some wide receiver help. We have Nico Collins, a true number one receiver, one of the best receivers in the league, and then we pretty much have no one else behind him. Robert Woods is a free agent. Stephon Diggs is a free agent. Both of those guys might not be back on the team. And then we have Xavier Hutchinson and John Mechie as your wide receiver 2 or 3. In my opinion, I think that those guys are fringe wide receiver 3 options. I think Mechie as a second round pick is a bust at this point. I know he's been through a lot. And I think Hutchinson has had some bright moments. But ultimately, I don't think neither one of them are really a true wide receiver 3. And that's what the purpose of this video is about. Can we find some free agents out there that can fill the wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 mold? And before you say anything, yes, we should still draft a wide receiver. This is just adding on to the depth because we have one receiver as it stands right now. And that's really kind of how I view it. And again, this is a position group of need. So let's get straight into this video, starting off strong. How about Darius Slayton, a free agent from the New York Giants, 6'1", 194 pounds, who ran a 4.39 40-yard dash. Look, Darius Slayton, for me, he's not going to be extremely hard to pry away from the New York Giants. The New York Giants are in desperate need of a change of scenery or something. They need to fix that organization. Darius Slayton has been somewhat productive. If I pull up his stats here, this past season, 39 catches, 573 yards, and 2 touchdowns, averaging 14 yards per reception. Darius Slayton, kind of a quieter name in this free agent class with some great production. So what are his strengths? Well, he's got good deep threat ability. He has the speed to take the tops off defenses, and it makes him a consistent big play threat. He's also really good size and really good length. At 6'1", he's got that solid frame, can work against defenders, and he really can get deep on vertical routes. Again, quick acceleration, a nice 40 time. His separation speed is great. His straight line speed helps him get open down the field. Also a great catch radius with that frame. Can extend for passes, especially on deep throws, and he can also make really tough sideline catches. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you his yak ability is amazing, but it's definitely there with his size, and he can still be effective in space when he's given that room to operate. So what are some weaknesses from Darius Slayton? Is he a true wide receiver 1? Well, here are some weaknesses. He has had some hand and drop issues, some inconsistencies with catching the balls. There have been some frustrating drops. The route running consistency isn't always there. He can be really good on deep routes, but in the intermediate and over the middle type of field and short routes, the route running isn't always there. He also, even though he has good size, the physicality against press coverage can be rough at times. If guys choose to press him, that can tend to slow him down a little bit. And then again, I'd say, with Darius Slayton, there's obviously going to be some limited versatility. He's not a true wide receiver 1. He never has been in his career with the Giants. And again, primarily a deep ball receiver. So I have him more as like a wide receiver 2 or a wide receiver 3, probably closer to a 2 though. In a vertical passing offense, I definitely think Stroud is the type of quarterback that can make him, look better than maybe what his ceiling is at this point. I mean, his, quarterback situation was a little rough this past year, but I was honestly surprised with the production. And one thing I'll say about him as well is he's never broken 1,000 yards, but in his career, he's been in the league for a while. He has put up pretty consistent numbers, usually around like the 700-yard mark. And that number of yards would be way more than Mechie and Hutchinson. It'd be a lot more than Robert Woods as well. So Darius Slayton could definitely, be someone that could be used for this Texans offense. Currently, he just got off a deal of 2 years and $12 million. He was the 5th round pick. He's 28 years old. And like I said, coming off about $6 million a year. So not a crazy investment for Darius Slayton. And that is someone to keep your eye on. What about Hollywood Brown? Obviously the Chiefs receiver who just came off injury pretty much the whole season, only played, a handful of games, putting up 9 catches and 91 targets in the 9 catches and 91 yards in the regular season. Again, he got injured in training camp, broke his collarbone, I believe. So kind of was a little quieter during the playoffs, but Played for the Arizona Cardinals before the Chiefs. He's 5'9" and a little under 180 pounds, but he ran a 4.27 40. So Hollywood Brown's got elite speed. That's what really he's known for, and that's what the Chiefs were trying to get out of him. Again, elite speed and acceleration. He's one of the fastest receivers in the league. He can stretch defenses vertically. His route running's amazing, very sharp, very fluid, excels at deep routes, slants, and crossing patterns. He really has the route tree. It's a lot more developed, I think, than Darius Slayton. A lot of separation ability as well. And he also has some yak ability. So you definitely see what the Chiefs saw in Hollywood Brown. And I still think it's there. It's just, from the Chiefs' point of view, they paid, $6.5 million guaranteed for a player who unfortunately got hurt, but everything they saw in him, it still exists. It's still there. A true deep threat, and he's really improved his hands as his career's gone on. He did have some frustrating drops early on in his career. So what are his weaknesses with Hollywood Brown? Well, the most obvious one is the size and durability. Undersized at 5'9", 180 pounds. Very vulnerable to physical defenders and injuries. Again, when you press him, he has had that injury history. He also struggles in 50-50 situations and contested catch ability because of his lack of size. And that's why the Chiefs were mainly trying to get him in motion, trying to give him a head start bursting off the line, similar to Xavier Worthy. But yeah, so physical coverage, again, can be jammed at the line, and inconsistency, issues with drops. It has improved, but that still has exist as well. So I think Hollywood Brown, again, ideal wide receiver 2 or a slot wide receiver in a pass-heavy offense. He thrives in open space, and he's really good fit in a spread offense that utilizes speed to create mismatches like the Chiefs tried to do. So what I like about Hollywood Brown is he gives you that speed factor, and that's what you'll notice with a lot of these receivers that I have as options for the Texans. Is I think we need super speedy receivers, kind of like what Tank Dell was for us, what Stephon Diggs was for us before they got injured. Just quick receivers, and then let Nico be your contested catch guy with his size. So like I said, 1 year, $7 million contract with the Chiefs, 6.5 was guaranteed. He was picked 25th overall, and he is currently 27 years old. Moving right along to a name that might surprise you, what about Tutu Atwell from the Los Angeles Rams? Again, he's also known for elite speed and agility. 5'9", only weighing about 165 pounds, but he ran a 4.32 40-yard dash. Extremely fast receiver as well. And so, again, some of the strengths, kind of Hollywood Brown-esque, elite speed and acceleration, elite quickness and agility, great route running, great yak ability, just through his speed. And he can line up in the slot as well as outside, or he can be used in jet sweeps. And I think McVay's offense really highlighted kind of the best of Tutu Atwell and his abilities. And when you pull up his stats here, kind of surprisingly, he had 42 catches, 562 yards, no touchdowns, but still pretty good production from a wide receiver 2, even a wide receiver 3 on that team. And of course, he's coming from the Rams, where Nick Caley just came to be our offensive coordinator, along with Jerry Shaplinsky, our senior passing game assistant. So Nick Caley's going to tell you a lot about Tutu Atwell. He's going to tell you if what he sees in him, if he can use him, which I think he can. Moving on to the weaknesses, again, another thing, size and durability. Undersized for an NFL receiver. The weight is really kind of an issue at only 165 pounds. Everything that comes with that, struggling against physical press coverage, being injury prone. Catching in traffic can be rough, along with winning contested catches. More of a limited route tree than Hollywood Brown, I'd say. Solid on deep and quick routes, but doesn't have the full tree. And then you can throw in his blocking ability too. I mean, you can really throw that in for any undersized wide receiver, but I don't think he's going to replace, Robert Woods' blocking ability at all. But what is he good at? Big play weapon. Schemed touches are great for him. More of a nuanced receiver with his size, but still, he's on the final year of his rookie contract, so he spent 3 years in the NFL. Second round pick. At pick 57. So that is Tutu Atwell. And finally, let's wrap this up with a bang. How about Chris Godwin, one of the biggest names in free agency behind T. Higgins? From the Bucks, 6'1", 208 pounds, ran a 4.42 40-yard dash. So there's a lot to like about Chris Godwin. Let me just read you off his stats really fast. So 50 catches this past year, 576 yards, 5 touchdowns, obviously has 1 broken ankle, I believe, so the production was a little limited, but around the same production as Tutu Atwell, which I just found really surprising. But again, strong hands and ball skills, reliable hands with the ability to make tough catches in traffic, His route running is great, crisp, precise route runner. Was really, really that great wide receiver 2 option for Baker Mayfield behind Mike Evans. Great physicality as well. He's definitely, the bigger one of the bigger wide receivers I have, about the same size as Darius Slayton. Yak ability is there. He can break tackles. He's really tough to bring down. Again, 6'1", 208 pounds. This is a guy who's extremely versatile. He can line up outside, inside really effectively, the most effectively out of all these other receivers. And he has one of the best blocking abilities at the wide receiver position. So he adds value in the run game with his blocking ability. Again, that weakness is he's going to be coming off an injury concern. He's had multiple injuries, and he also tore his ACL and MCL in 2021. And that's, obviously before just breaking his ankle. Doesn't necessarily have the top end speed like the other receivers I've mentioned in this video. But I don't really think you're looking for that when you go after Chris Godwin. You're looking for the physicality. And then again, the separation's not always there against like really good corners. They can definitely take him away. And, he's obviously not going to be your wide receiver 1, but he can probably act as a wide receiver 1B or a very, very high end wide receiver 2. Just knows the game really well, a lot of experience at the position. And I don't know what the Bucs feel about him. I don't know if they feel like bringing him back, but if they don't, I definitely think he will be a great addition. I don't have the details on his contract. I missed that. I think he's making set to make around $20 million was his last contract. So you're going to have to pay Chris Godwin. That's the one thing I have to say about Chris Godwin where I don't know if it necessarily makes sense is you're going to have to pay him. It might dip a little bit due to injury, but if the Bengals franchise tag T. Higgins, his value is just going to skyrocket in free agency. So he has had that injury. There is the fact that you're going to have to pay him, but if you want the Chris Godwin route, I definitely could see it. So yeah, that's kind of really all I got for this video. So just to summarize it, Darius Slayton from the Giants, Hollywood Brown from the Chiefs, Tutu Atwell from the Rams, and of course Chris Godwin from the Bucs. So let me know what you guys think. Are there any free agents that you guys want to see? Just let me know, and I will see you guys in the next one, man. Peace out.